Now it's 6 on WKYT this morning. We are remembering the 49 people who died in Comair Flight 5191. How one Southern Kentucky businessman's legacy continues to live on.
Plus, we'll also look at changes at Bluegrass Airport and across the aviation industry since that crash, how the airport is now safer for pilots and passengers.
And we'll hear how friends remember one of the victims of the crash of Comair Flight 5191. All of that coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good Saturday morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
And I'm Sean Moody. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning. It is the 10-year anniversary of the crash of Comair 5191. We've got that outdoor memorial service coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, and meteorologist Mike Linden is standing by. How are things looking out there right now, Mike?
Well, if you're heading outside now, later this afternoon, we are looking at hot and humid conditions across the day today. Of course, this is the final weekend in the month of August, and it is the end of meteorological summer. Of course, the first day of fall isn't until Thursday, the 22nd of September. So it is certainly going to feel more like summer here the next few days, and this weather is only going to enhance that fact. Right now, the mid to low 70s and upper 60s. Not too much going on right now as far as active weather goes. Just a few showers over southern Indiana, but otherwise the cloud cover is scattered this morning. It's going to feel humid, and we are certainly looking at more humid air working its way in from the south and pushing its way into Kentucky. That's going to make those 90s feel more like close to the triple digits out there today. Some of the hottest air of the summer is here, and it is not going anywhere. Coming up, I'll take you through the next few hours and show you how it should feel.
Mike, thank you. They're gone but not forgotten. We're remembering the 49 people who died on Comair 5191 10 years ago today.
47 passengers and 2 crew members did not survive the crash on August 27, 2006. A memorial service will be held for the victims this morning at UK Arboretum. It will be held near the memorial sculpture that was dedicated to the victims. And turning now, that's where we begin our Flight 5191 memorial coverage.
WKYT's Mike Beyer joins us live here from the 5191 Memorial, looking ahead to this morning's service. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Sean. Many people will gather here at the Arboretum in just a few hours to honor the victims of Comair Flight 5191 crash. More than 300 family members and friends of those who died in that tragic crash are expected to be on hand this morning. They'll honor the victims and also look back on what happened that tragic day. 10 years ago, on the morning of August 27, 2006, Comair Flight 5191 crashed on takeoff from the Bluegrass Airport here in Lexington. One Lexington police officer says that day is still hard for him to talk about. Sergeant Brian Jared was nearing the end of his patrol shift back in '06 when he heard the call for help at the airport. He tells us when he got close to the airport, he could see that an airplane was on fire. Sergeant Jared realized not many people had survived, but he had started searching for someone he could help.
It takes your breath away to see something like that. I didn't know what to do for, a couple seconds. When I found Hinkie, he was like my saving grace. He was like, I gotta make this work.
Jim Hinkie was the co-pilot of the plane. He was immediately taken to the hospital after he was freed, and he was the only survivor. Sergeant Jared says today's memorial will be difficult, but he's looking forward to meeting many of the victims' families for the first time. Now, the community is invited to attend the memorial service this morning. It starts at 10 o'clock here at the UK Arboretum. Now, seating will only be available to members, family members, their guests, and participants in the service, but the public is welcome to bring their own lawn chairs to view the memorial. Parking will be available in lots near Commonwealth Stadium. Also, Lextran will provide free shuttle right here to the Arboretum. Live in Lexington, Mike Beyer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. WKYT's live coverage of the service starts at 10 o'clock this morning. You can watch the service right here on WKYT, or you can also watch the service live online at WKYT.com. Now, in the decades since the crash, changes have been made at Bluegrass Airport and at airports across the country to prevent another runway mix-up.
Comair Flight 5191 crashed near Bluegrass Airport after the plane tried to take off from the wrong runway. Probably the most visible change at the airport now is that those two runways no longer intersect. There's one taxiway that leads to the main runway now, that longer one, and you have to take another route to get to the shorter general aviation runway. Now, it wasn't a direct result of the accident. That runway change had already been planned. It's one thing that Bluegrass Airport's executive director says makes pilots and passengers safer.
You can't accidentally, taxi onto that runway anymore. This airport is not unlike several airports around the country that were built in World War II, and a lot of them have that same crossing, 2 or 3 runways in the midfield. Very common back then, and Lexington was no different.
Now, another change is that air traffic controllers must now give pilots a specific clearance to taxi across another runway to get to their intended runway. That way they're paying more attention. The FAA also found that Bluegrass Airport's tower did not have enough workers the morning of the crash. They had 1 air traffic controller on duty when they were supposed to have 2. After the crash, the FAA formalized a new policy.
Southern Kentucky businessman Mike Finley was among the 49 people killed in the crash of Comair Flight 5191. He owned skating rinks in London, Somerset, and Danville, which were called Finley Fun Centers. In Danville, the skating rink is now called Windjammer Fun Center, but Finley's business models and legacy still live on. People who knew him say he had a great work ethic.
A businessman, a hands-on businessman. He practiced what he preached. He ran a tight ship, but he would not ask you to do something he would not do himself. If I'd mop one side of the floor, he'd mop the other.
Mike Finley was traveling to a skating convention the morning of the crash. An employee, Holly Gilbert, was also on that flight.
Your time now on this Saturday morning is 6:06. It was 10 years ago at this exact minute that Comair Flight 5191 crashed just off the end of that runway at Bluegrass Airport. 49 people died. There was, of course, that one survivor.
Yeah, and as we reported, the victims will be remembered later this morning in a ceremony at the Flight 5191 Memorial at UK Arboretum. Now, let's take a moment to remember the lives lost.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Mike Linden.
It is the final weekend of the month. It is the end of meteorological summer as we work our way into meteorological autumn. But remember, of course, the first day of fall isn't until Thursday the 22nd. At least that's what the calendar says. It's going to feel more like summer even through the rest of this week as we head into next week. Right now on Defender, not necessarily looking at very much. Could be looking at some thunderstorms brewing as we head into the second half of our day, and that is because of the hot, humid air working its way in from the Gulf. Just a few days ago, when it felt fantastic outside, that was because our air was coming in from the north, the much cooler north. But now it is a complete switch to our pattern as we are seeing that hot, humid air coming in from the southwest. We are still seeing some air coming in from the north right out ahead of this cold front, and that is what is causing the thunderstorm development as we head into our afternoon today. Right now, temperature-wise, we are in the mid to low 70s and upper 60s. It's just a little bit warmer from where we were at this time yesterday. You will truly feel the difference as we head into our afternoon, but just know that we are already ahead of the curve as we head into this morning. Look what happens as we get into our afternoon today. This is the heat index. This is what it will feel like outside when you're talking about temperature and the humidity. Watch what happens. We head into the afternoon today. This is right around 4 o'clock. Even though your thermometer will say 92, 93, it will feel more like the upper 90s and even potentially the triple digits. More than likely, we'll see those triple digits out west or to the south, but regardless, a lot of 96s, a lot of 97s popping up on this map. So if you are heading outside today, just know that into the afternoon, especially for the young and for the old, it could get dangerous. Be sure that you stay hydrated. Sunscreen is going to be key on a day like today, but it's going to be very easy to become dehydrated when you're talking about these upper 90s. You just don't want to put yourself in that position. Really no break as we head into Sunday either. We're looking at temperatures feeling, that's the key, feeling more like the mid to high 90s. Could even be some triple digits out there again. A hot weekend, to say the least. But here's what it looks like throughout your day today. If you're heading out to the Arboretum for the 5191 memorial service, we're talking about temperatures already approaching the mid-80s at that point. So bring a bottle of water with you to the Arboretum. It's certainly going to be a good idea, especially considering if you plan on staying outside for longer than that, temperatures will continue to rise, getting back into the lower 90s. Now, of course, aside from Kentucky, all eyes in the weather world are on the Caribbean watching 99L. That is the name of this tropical disturbance sitting right along the northern edge of Cuba. Still remains to be seen whether or not it will work its way into becoming a tropical storm or potentially a hurricane. But this is a look at your spaghetti plots. And the reason why they're named that is because it looks like a bunch of spaghetti. These are essentially a bunch of different model runs trying to forecast which way this disturbance will go. Right now, it has its way going through southern Florida and into the Gulf of Mexico. But again, still remains to be seen whether or not it will survive through the weekend. We will certainly have to keep our eye on that moving forward. This is your 7-day forecast. Not the prettiest one, not the coolest one by any stretch, but this is just your typical summer forecast here in Kentucky. Pop-up thunderstorms almost each and every day. The humidity not going much of anywhere. The only real break in this heat will be next weekend as temperatures fall back into the mid to low 80s. So another hot one out there today and tomorrow. Could be some of the hottest feeling temperatures of the summer thus far.
Thought those hot temperatures may be gone.
Especially with that cool down
Right.
a couple of days ago, which was fantastic. And it looks like at least another week of it.
And we'll look forward to the next one. Thanks a lot, Mike.
So it's going to be hot outside, like Mike just said, and there is a lot going on this Saturday. Here's a look at some of the events that are taking place today. Egg Fest is going on today at House Warmings on Palumbo Drive. It's behind the IHOP on New Circle Road. It's a food and music fundraiser with money going to Greenhouse 17. It runs from 11 to 6 o'clock today.
If your kid likes cartoons or anime, you can take them to Ken TokyoCon at the Lexington Center. Doors open at 10 o'clock this morning. And there's also a local hemp foods cook-off this afternoon at the Fifth Third Pavilion. That runs from 4 o'clock until 6. And the organizers are going to take donations that will benefit industrial hemp research.
We've got more news coming up on WKYT this Saturday morning.
A state investigation has sidelined a longtime football coach. We'll hear his side of the story when we come back on WKYT this morning.
But before we go to break, tonight's Powerball jackpot is $142 million. And Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $84 million. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. High school football is underway across the Bluegrass. This season, though, one longtime high school coach will not be on the sidelines after a state investigation claims to have found evidence of hazing and other violations at Rowan County High School.
The report claims the violations took place under former coach Ray Graham. He sits down with WKYT's Amber Philpott to tell his side of the story.
Just beyond this Georgetown feed store, there's a grassy lot that holds a lot of memories.
We played baseball and football and smear the man with the ball.
All those games on this lot led Ray Graham to a nearly 40-year career coaching high school football in Kentucky.
We had a lot of fun here, and I've always loved to be involved with football. It's a passion for me.
A majority of his career was spent in Harrison County, 25 years. He's had undefeated seasons, but he's been on the losing end too. His greatest accomplishment, he says, mentoring countless players.
And you look around and you see that football players, people that have played football, become really good leaders. They understand that life's not easy. They understand they've taken some knocks. They get back up. Good, good.
His most recent coaching job led him to Rowan County High School. It was there Graham may have taken his hardest hit in coaching.
I would say that there were 6 or 7 people that were willing to go to great lengths to do what they could to make sure I wasn't the coach.
After 2 seasons with the Vikings, Graham found himself in a firestorm and at the center of an investigation by the Kentucky Office of Education Accountability.
The report was totally inconsistent with my life, totally inconsistent with the way I've coached football for now almost 40 years. So I want people to know that.
The OEA report released in July spelled out a number of allegations from parents from the 2 seasons Graham was coaching, which started in 2014. Those allegations include hazing, bullying, and mistreatment of players by fellow athletes, all claims Graham vehemently denies.
I addressed everything that came to my attention Now, there was no hazing brought to my attention until this past season was over.
Graham says if there were issues, he addressed them. As for a report of a student taking an inappropriate photo of another player, he again says,
Assistant coach was on it very quickly and made sure that it was deleted, and we went about working on the process of handling that situation right then.
Graham claims the report is one-sided. He was interviewed along with school administrators, but he says it doesn't paint an accurate picture. We tried contacting several parents when the report was first released. Many were willing to talk about what they say was a negative culture, but not on camera. Trevor Utterback, an underclassman during the seasons in question, stepped forward to defend his coach along with another player.
I didn't see any bullying or hazing going on at that time, and nothing like that ever happened. And practice went like practice.
He was just a real fun guy to be around. He was a real inspiration on me. And I felt like if I ever had like problems at home or anything, he'd come and talk to you. He'd give you the shirt off his back.
My philosophy had always been to treat these young men like I'd want my own son to be treated.
Graham says when he learned several parents were unhappy in November of 2015, he asked for a meeting with both the Rowan County superintendent and his principal.
And so then the comment was made, we're 100% behind Coach Graham. You tell everybody we're going forward with Coach Graham as the coach.
Months after that meeting, and once the OEA investigation began, Graham learned his contract was not being renewed and that support was gone.
Do you feel like you've been made the scapegoat in this?
I've heard that term. I would somewhat agree with, I don't know how you couldn't agree with that, yeah.
All right, 6:21 now on your Saturday morning, and there's still more to come.
Yeah, sports is coming up next.
8 days away, now 7 days away until the Wildcats of the Southern Miss Golden Eagles start this football season at Commonwealth Stadium. You will hear from a guy who's had a heck of a journey to get to Kentucky, and a little basketball. We take a look at Isaiah Briscoe. That's next in sports.
And summer isn't through yet. Another hot day out there today, to say the least. Coming up, I'll show you what it will feel like across the Commonwealth. Coming up. Welcome back to WKYT this morning. It is another brutally hot day out there as we head into the afternoon today. Got a ways to go, but we are already on the way. Temperatures right now in the mid to low 70s and upper 60s, a couple of degrees warmer than where we were yesterday at this time. So we are already starting to see temperatures out ahead of where we were yesterday, even early this morning. On the Defender Radar Network, not necessarily seeing anything just yet, although the clouds are spotty and we could potentially get in on some scattered thunderstorms a little bit later today. That's all as a result of that hot, humid air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to drive those temperatures forward. Now, even if you look at your thermometer at the WKYT app today for your temperature, it's going to say the lower 90s, but that's not what it's going to feel like. This is what it's going to feel like when you add that moisture in. Should feel more like the upper 90s and low triple digits. Mother Nature is not done yet. The dog days of summer are back again for the final weekend of August. Brian Milam is back in next with sports.
Plenty of new faces will be on the field for the Wildcats this fall, and the fans will get their first look at many of them when the season opens 1 week from tonight. Among them, linebacker Daniro Laster. He began his college career 3 years ago at Minnesota, where he redshirted, then played a little bit the next season. However, transferred to Kentucky, sat out. Laster can play inside or outside linebacker, and Mark Stoops needs players to step up at both of those spots.
We have a nice group of linebackers. I would say we have a group that is very different, and each guy has a different strength that they bring to our team. And we're a bit young, and we are a little bit inexperienced, but we have a lot of talent, and with our talent, we could do some really successful things this year.
With another roster full of young players, John Calipari will call upon Isaiah Briscoe to be the heart and soul of this year's basketball Wildcats. Briscoe is back, and Cal said Briscoe was one of the unsung heroes of last year's team. Cal is asking Briscoe to improve his shooting, and so far he's working extremely hard to do just that.
You know, people forget how big he was for our team a year ago. Like, he kind of got overshadowed. And the only reason he got overshadowed, whatever he shot from the three-point line and the free throw line was abysmal. But short of that, defending, rebounding, playing basketball, getting to the basket, making plays, not being afraid. But as a basketball player, as a tough, hard-nosed warrior, come on now, there were games we'd have lost if he wasn't playing.
That is a look at sports. Enjoy your weekend.